She laughed out loud when she saw him counting coins at the checkout. "Figures," she sneered. "People like you always come up short." The line grew tense, her voice dripping with mockery, as others avoided his eyes. But then the cashier's screen beeped. The man calmly pulled out a black card. Not only did he pay for his own groceries, he paid for everyone else's in line. Gasps filled the store. The cruel woman's smile shattered. The man turned, eyes steady, voice low but powerful. "Never judge a man by what you think he lacks. True wealth is measured by dignity." The room erupted in applause. And she couldn't look him in the eye. The next day, the same woman stormed into the store, cheeks red with shame. She spotted him again, this time helping an elderly man reach items from the top shelf. The crowd recognized him instantly, whispers spreading like fire. "That's the man who paid for everyone." The woman tried to laugh it off, but the manager stepped forward. With cameras rolling, he announced, "Sir, your generosity yesterday fed dozens of families. We're honoring you with a year of free groceries." Applause thundered. The woman's smugness crumbled into silence as the man turned to her, calm but firm. The world rewards kindness and exposes cruelty. Days later, the woman thought she'd escaped the embarrassment, but fate had other plans. She walked into a job interview, smiling confident, until the door opened. Sitting at the head of the table was the very man she mocked. Her heart sank. He was the CEO. Silence choked the room. He leaned forward, eyes sharp but calm. "Funny, last time we met, you judged me for what you thought I didn't have." The panel glanced at each other, tension thick as smoke. She stammered, searching for words. But he ended it with one line, "We don't hire arrogance. We invest in character." Her chance vanished in an instant. Word spread fast. The woman who mocked a man for counting coins was exposed. Videos of the grocery store moment went viral. Strangers flooded the comments. Disrespect has consequences. At the same time, the man she ridiculed was celebrated, invited on to talk shows, praised for his humility. The woman tried to fight back, calling herself the victim, but everywhere she turned, people remember her laughter, her cruelty. Finally, she showed up at one of his charity events, head lowered, trembling. Cameras clicked as she whispered, "I'm sorry." He looked at her, steady, unshaken. Forgiveness is free, but respect must be earned. Weeks later, the man stood on stage at a community center he funded, helping families in need, the same way he once stood in that grocery line. The crowd cheered his name, celebrating the man who turned mockery into a movement of kindness. Then, quietly in the back, the woman watched, no longer proud, no longer laughing, just broken by the weight of her choices. He noticed her, but didn't call her out. Instead, he raised his voice for everyone to hear. "We rise not by tearing others down, but by lifting them up." The audience roared. The woman slipped away, silenced by truth. He didn't need revenge. His success was the answer. Months passed. The man's story had inspired thousands, scholarships, food drives, hope where there was none. But fate brought one last twist. The woman, jobless and desperate, stood in line at a shelter, the very one he funded. When their eyes met, shame flooded her face. She expected rejection. Instead, he placed a warm meal in her hands and said softly, "No one is beyond a second chance." The room fell silent, hearts heavy with emotion. She broke down, whispering, "Thank you." He smiled gently. Kindness costs nothing, but it can change everything. For weeks, the woman kept returning to the shelter, not just for food, but to help. She swept floors, served meals, carried boxes. People whispered, some doubting her change. But the man watched quietly, testing her actions more than her words. One night, as she scrubbed tables after everyone had left, he approached. "Why are you still here?" he asked. She looked up, tears brimming. "Because I don't want to be the person I was. I want to give back, like you." Silence hung heavy. Then he nodded slowly. Redemption isn't spoken, it's lived. For the first time, she felt hope replace her shame. Months later, the woman stood at the shelter's podium, voice trembling. The same community that once saw her mock a man now watched you confess. I was blind with pride, but kindness gave me sight. She pointed to the man seated in the front row, honored guest at his own foundation. The crowd applauded, but he only smiled, humbled. After the speech, she approached him, whispering, "You gave me more than food. You gave me a new life." He placed a hand on her shoulder and replied, "Grace turns enemies into allies." The room rose to their feet, not for wealth, not for status, but for redemption. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories that matter. And let's keep the conversation going.